Well, welcome and good morning to this really brief live that was stimulated by a conversation I had with a friend over the weekend about what it was about relationships that really made them work. And the context for this conversation I was having with this friend of mine is really about the divisiveness and the disappointment that we're noticing in mainstream media and in a lot of circles around what's wrong with the world and what's wrong with other people rather than focusing on what's right. So I really wanted to put together this very brief video about how to really get the most out of your relationships and how to amplify awesome. Now, last week I was also in a training program where we looked at strengths and really about paying attention to what it is about each and every person where they're really in their zone of genius and bringing out the best of themselves and the best in each other. So this video, Human Relationships Empowered by Positivity, is really the outcome of a week where I've really been focusing on what it is about relationships that makes them amazing, what gets in the way when they get stuck, and how to get ourselves back on track in order to amplify our own and each other's awesomeness. Now, there's 3 steps in amplifying awesome in our relationship. And step number 1 starts with you. It's about taking the very best of who you are. Now, I've shared this in previous podcasts and in previous lives and also in part of my Positive Change program. But fundamental to every single human being is a positive core. At the very heart, at the very essence, your essential nature, the very core of who you are, is an unconditionally positive, unconditionally empowering, unconditionally vibrant aliveness that is you. An unconditionally positive aspect that just cannot be dulled or dimmed by everyday circumstances or interactions. This essential nature of you that is the core to who you are. Now, if we really want to amplify awesomeness in our relationships, we have to start with ourselves. We have to start with staying connected with that unconditionally positive core that makes you who you are. Now, if you've done a little bit of work around this for yourself, you'll already know what your strengths and talents and what makes you amazing is. But if you haven't, what's really important here is to name and claim your positive core. And we can do this by really thinking about when I'm really in flow and everything comes naturally to me, when I don't really have to think about what I'm doing, it just occurs. Ask yourself, what is it that you're doing? And what qualities and attributes are you bringing to those circumstances when you find yourself naturally in flow, working in support of yourself rather than against yourself? So the key thing here is to name what makes you amazing and to notice if naming it, you feel completely aligned and compelled to take ownership of it, or it feels just a little bit incongruent or disconnected. To name and claim your awesomeness is the first step in building amazing relationships with other people. You know, the thing is, if we don't truly love who we are and all that we bring to our relationships to others, how can we ever hope to truly be authentic and connected in our relationships with others anyway? So fundamentally, what's really important, step number 1 in building awesome relationships and amplifying that awesomeness, is to be authentically you. To name and claim what makes you amazing and don't apologize for being who you are. Step number 2, equally importantly, is you need to be working for yourself and with yourself rather than against yourself. For example, I know that one of my strengths, one of the things that really makes me me, is a sense of seeing unlimited potential everywhere I go. I can't help it. I can't help but look at a situation or a person or a circumstance or a community and go, look how cool that group is. Look how cool that situation is. How amazing it is that they're able to do what they do. Now, I know that if I pursue that every single day, I know that I'm going to be successful. And if I work against myself, if I start to see the negative in things rather than the positive in things, I'm in essence going to be working against my own true nature, my own essential positive core. So not only do we need to name and claim what makes us amazing, we have to work with it. We have to embrace it, even if it might feel at times like we're a little selfish, we're just focusing on ourselves, but it's essential to stay true to who you are and authentically yourself. And the next and the final step is we need to aim what makes us amazing and amplify it for the benefit of ourselves and the benefit of others. Another thing that I know is super interesting about me is I think about the future a lot. Now, it's not to say that I'm not in the present moment, but I really love to imagine what might be coming next. So my work, my very profession, and in all of my personal friendships and professional friendships, it's all about aiming that futuristic view, pointing it towards something that's really important and going, what else could happen here? What else is possible in this situation? And to amplify what I notice, to take that positive core for myself and for others, and to make more of it for the benefit of more people. So step number one in having really amazing relationships with other people is actually to have a really amazing relationship with yourself. And from that foundation, we're really in a place of being able to truly empower other people without getting in our own way and without getting in other people's way. So step one, be authentically yourself. Step two is to empower others to be authentic too. Like, I know it sounds really obvious, but it's essential that our role is to help to strip away what gets in the way of other people being amazing as well. And the first thing we need to do in really to support and empower others to be authentic as well, and I know it sounds really obvious as I say it, but we have to acknowledge that there are other people in our interpersonal field. I remember going to a mindfulness training program a couple of years ago, and the teacher said one of the practices of mindfulness is to acknowledge when other people are in your interpersonal field. That simple act of acknowledging that another person exists in your surroundings, in your physical surroundings, in your emotional surroundings, in your awareness itself, can be a deeply empowering experience for other people. In a world where we're, generally speaking, deeply focused on what we need to do in order to survive and thrive, that simple act of acknowledging other people, a simple hello, a maintaining of eye contact, a recognition that others exist, can be a liberating experience for other people. There's a person at my local supermarket who every single time I go there, he's out the front, looking for change. I take my dog Molly, I tie Molly up out the front, and without fail, Mark's his name, Mark would come and say hello to Molly and acknowledge that she exists. He loves dogs, Mark loves dogs. Molly's super excited. She wags her tail, she jumps all over him. And without fail, that simple act, I know it seems simple, inspires me to have a conversation with Mark every time I go to the supermarket. How are you going? What's happening? How are you feeling? What's going on in your world? How's your home situation? Now, I don't know if it really makes a difference to Mark or not, but I'm pretty sure it does. So acknowledging another person is essentially important to supporting others to be empowered. After we acknowledge that people exist, we need to accept people for who they are. They may have different strengths and attributes to you. We're not all the same. And our role is to accept every person for who they are. There's a thing about potential craves novelty. Potential craves diversity and difference. So in accepting the gifts that people bring, our role then becomes to appreciate the very core of what makes a person who they are, with deep curiosity and inquiry. What makes you you? What is your essential nature? What are your unique talents, your character, your attributes, your way of viewing the world? And rather than trying to change them to be more like ourselves, It's about appreciating what makes them them, and of course, amplifying, helping them to name and claim their own strengths, to work with themselves rather than against themselves, to aim and amplify their strengths for the benefit of themselves and the benefit of others. Step 1, be authentically yourself. Step 2, empower others to be authentic as well, by acknowledging, by accepting, and by deeply appreciating that other person or group of people's positive core. And then we get to the juicy part, step number 3, fostering the synergy in the in-between. It's not just my strengths, not just what makes you amazing, but it's what we can do together. What are those synergies? And amplifying our awesomeness together. How do we find out what it is about our relationship with each other that really brings out the best in each other? You know, there's a saying, if you want to travel fast, travel alone. But if you want to travel far, travel together. Now I know it's a cliche that life is a journey. It's not a destination. It's a series of experiences that help us understand ourselves and understand others. And in that deepening of our understanding, we seek and we explore our mutuality, how we need each other to be fully alive, how we need each other to truly amplify our own brilliance. Now, the thing with mutuality in our relationships, whether it be our intimate relationship with a person that we're married to or in partnership with, but in any relationship, whether it be with a friend or a work colleague, fundamental to mutuality is caring and supporting each other. It's about enriching each other, specifically and especially in times of challenges. When we're really feeling like we're struggling or not getting ahead in something that's important to us, how do we see those circumstances as enriching, collaborating with each other, showing empathy, showing love, celebrating each other's successes, and showing each other unconditional love, unconditional trust. So step number 3, fostering synergies, is all about creating a sense of mutuality. I need you to be fully me. You need me to be fully you. This sense of deep enrichment, collaboration, empathy, love, celebration. So how do we do that? How do we amplify the awesomeness between each other? Now, the first thing we can do in fostering those synergies is to ask other people, how can I be in support of you being all that you can be? You know, the thing is, if we spend time asking, how do I be all I can be, that's important, of course. But just imagine if every other person you know that you're in a relationship with, their focus was helping you be amazing. Wouldn't that amplify things way more than if you could do it yourself? Of course it would. So our role is to ask those people that we're in relationship, how can I support you to be all that you can be? How can I remove barriers to your success? How can I encourage you to overcome that next challenge and to thrive? So asking others. But it's also about requesting that support from others too. Requesting from others that they support you in staying true to yourself. When you know what your positive core is, and you know that working for yourself and amplifying that brings about even more positivity, enthusiasm, and joy for yourself, then our role is to request from others to help us do that more often. To help us do that with more flow and more flexibility. So once we've asked people what they need and we've requested what we need from others, the next step is to pursue that positivity. Now, a mentor of mine once said to me, in all that you do, follow the positive energy. In every circumstance, in every situation, there is always positive energy. Go where the positive energy is. Sure, there might be challenges and disruption and disappointment and divisiveness out there. And We may need to address that at some point in time, certainly. But if I'm depleted and I'm heading into this negative territory, I'm only going to be depleted more. But if we connect with other people, amplify positivity, and follow the positive energy where that takes us, we'll end up dealing with some of that troublesome stuff. We'll just be coming at it with way more flow and within our zone of genius. You know, the thing is, in every single moment, positivity exists. The very essence, the very core of human experience is positivity. Every experience is infused with positivity. Every moment is infused with positivity. Our role is to find our focus. Our intent needs to be find the positive core and follow the positive energy. To then continue to co-discover what makes you and the people around you totally amazing. You know, the thing is, with so much divisiveness, negativity, even hate in the world, our role, our positive intention as human beings is to find what connects us, not what breaks us. There's enough of that going on around the place. There's enough negativity to fuel lifetimes of divisiveness. Be that beacon of hope, that light of positivity, that true north for others, that opportunity for people to choose a more flourishing way. Positive relationships with yourself is the foundation stone to fostering positive relationships with others. If I don't feel good about myself, I'm taking that baggage into my relationships with others. It's key that we name and claim and work with our own unconditionally positive core and bring that to all of our relationships. And then together, our positive relationships with others become the bedrock, the foundation stones to thriving communities and ultimately a healthy humanity. It all starts with you. Be authentically you. Empower others to be authentic as well. And then together, find those synergies of positivity in our relationships. What brings us together that liberates more potential and bring more of that to all that we do. And the outcome, flourishing me, flourishing you, thriving communities, and a healthy humanity. And on that note, it's time to sign off. Please offer any comments, questions, feedback in the comment section of this video. I really want to hear what you think about what I'm sharing. Now, my intention is to liberate humanity's potential. That's my purpose in life. And we are all essential to liberating humanity's potential. Until next time, be well, stay positive, and look after yourself.